Yo, what is going on, my fellow weebs? Corner here, and welcome back to the channel. So, whew, that headline sure was something. Got a lot of interesting things on the horizon. A little bit of a lax month coming up at the moment, but something really exciting actually the following month. So it's looking like it might be, for some people, just relax until July. Let's talk about why. So we're trying something a little different today. I'm actually going to be doing my recap of the headline off stream. Usually I do it right after the headline is completed. I go through it with you guys. I found it's a little bit chaotic when I do that sort of thing. A lot of interruptions, so on and so forth. So I'm going to do this for you guys completely off stream, just on my own, and get this out for you as soon as I possibly can. So the headline was pretty solid. A lot of cool things. We're going to go ahead and go over just the usual stuff here. We're going to jump over to the slides because the slides really kind of paint the picture here for us. Actually, I want to do it like, here we go. It just makes it very, very clear that this is not my footage. It is a video, and I'd prefer it to stay that way. So let's jump over to the first slide, which is here. So we have the Alpha Super Origin Festival going on. I'm pretty sure that's the first slide, right? Yeah, make sure. Yeah, cool. So the Alpha Super Origin Festival is going on right now. This is ongoing. TLDR, play tons of rewards. That's all it really is to it. If you're not someone who is currently pushing your gear, whatever it happens to be, just run LTQs, do your limited quests, that sort of thing. Get the rewards you can get for now that are free. They're very useful, and stack them up for later. They show off the entire thing. I'm just going to go ahead and let it roll through it really quick here so you guys can see it. But they go ahead and they show off basically everything here. You can see the other outfits are being shown now. They have the extra 150 10 times a day scratch. So it's 15 days basically. It shows the Evalto armor. They confirm that we have Planet Crusher Assault D2, of course, and the Stars Fell D2, which we saw that from the article. If you actually watched my my video that we posted the other day about just what was coming out for the week, we saw that in the article itself. So you can see all these things here. Of course, it's just the calendar to keep up with everything. We've also got login bonuses that are going to include an augmentation transfer pass vouchers, special select tickets, as well as, of course, star gems and these look like beta reactors. And then, of course, an enhancement support campaign that's going to be starting up on the 30th of this month, specifically this month, for everything. So pretty cool stuff there. We also have another super reward box coming that's going to be going on with Dalian, and then one going on with Vile. Just because their urgent quests are coming up, you get the reward box medals from running stuff. So it's going to be pretty dope. It says 50% more rewards in it. It usually tends to just be like double and triple of the rewards that are in the box itself usually. So I'd expect to see that pretty standard. You also complete the urgent quest twice. They're pre-announced urgent quests, so they'll likely be less HP, being able to run them back to back. So usually pretty easy to do. And these are also upgraded versions of the 4-man. So it's like not as difficult as the 4-man variants, without like, health or the death modifiers or death limits. And it's up to 8 people. So it tends to be a bit easier. Of course, we saw the 10 a days shows Mary's total wear, the new hairstyles and outfits, all that good stuff in between. Then we have the Super Origin Revival ticket. So this is the Revival ticket that we've got, and we have an SG Support Select. This is usually important for getting things like preset skill enhancements. So if you have the Star Gems to support it, a good idea to go ahead and jump into this, but that's something you absolutely need. Usually you can save up a good chunk of Star Gems over the time between these, and then of course splurge if you need to. We do have, we've known this for a while. They literally let us know about this at the end of last month, actually. So not even the beginning of this month. At the end of last month, they let us know about this, but we do have the UD augments coming in. These UD class augments are going to replace the Roddy class augments, and it's also going to include the previous A-type EX augments in the scratch as well. So there aren't gonna be any new ones. If you have the current ones, you're good to go. If you currently have any that you've been waiting to sell, you might want to go ahead and sell them and get rid of them now, because they are just going to go down in price. And if you've been looking forward to getting some, or you missed out on them last time, always buy them on season. Do not scam yourselves. People do this thing all the time where they get really upset and they go buy them off season because they're finally ready to do so. But in reality, they're more expensive, and they get really upset at the fact that you had to pay money to get these, and so on and so forth. So do yourself a favor, if you're going to be picking these up, which I do recommend picking up a cheap one at the very least if you're not picking anything else, they are still a damage upgrade and still a meaningful one. So it's a very easy way to get cheap damage. You'll be surprised how much they are when they're actually in season. The usual rewind, it's the first. It's a PSO2. It's an NGS rewind. So usual things, and they're bringing back Sorcerer Morris again for the scratch count bonus. Really milking that Sorcerer Morris, man. It's a very popular camo. So we also did confirmation of a new Altar Realm exploration that's going to be in the Gorge, and it's going to also include a bunch of the, what is it, the Emperor, I always call them the Emperor Rappy. It's the Great Rappy. It's called the Great Rappy Suppression Trial, which is going to give us increased chances at Legend 4 Luxio series, the 14-star Evolto armors, as well as the new rings, the Count Amp and the Count Follow rings. So this will be really good to farm when that comes around. Of course, all the bonuses will be going on then too, so you want to make sure you take advantage of that. We also have Planet Crusher Assault D2. We talked about this already. We know it's coming back around. And then, of course, seasonal exchange shop updates. Things like idols, or usually it's different color idols or dashes or glides. This time it looks like it's Handy Propeller B. We have Daddle's Axe, and then, of course, there are going to be some accessories that are involved as well. Nothing too crazy there. And then the usual lineup we'll go over when it comes out. I'll start going back to those videos where we go over the actual lineup of what's there and what's worth grabbing, what's not worth grabbing. So stay tuned for that. It's usually pretty easy, but there's people that actually do enjoy those. We also have the emote emotion revival scratch that's going to be coming around. So in case you missed any specific emotes or motions that you wanted to get a hold of, now's a good time to go ahead and do so. And if you've been holding on to any of those, you may want to go ahead and get rid of them before this comes back around. These tend to be fairly still expensive because they tend to be very large scratches with a ton of things in them, as opposed to like just a few things. So you want to make sure that you aren't, banking on getting something or getting what you're looking for specifically by scratching, but pray that the thing that you want is going to be cheaper because more people may be getting a hold of it to go ahead and post on the market. So just keep an eye out. It looks like there's also the S variant of the Argent Gladiosol. So if you're someone who is running, what is it called? A Bandak, then you want to make sure you keep an eye on this. This will likely be in the scratch count, but in the scratch count bonus. So if you're someone who's running that, that's going to be important for you. If not, I wouldn't worry too much about it. We also have, of course, more of the 5th anniversary thankful. This one's for May, so it shows off some of the items that'll be in here. We got things like the Big Bang silver scratch tickets, SG, camos, outfits, all that good stuff in the mix. And you just want to run your weekly task to get the scratch tickets to be able to pull on that. And then, of course, you can sell them or use them. It's up to you. These are a nice little way to make some money on the side. So assuming the item sells, sometimes it takes a little longer to sell than most. Season 56 of the mission pass. Mission pass is pretty straightforward. I'll say the same thing I say every time I talk about the mission pass. Definitely needs to have more than a single ticket for use of the shop. Free to play may use more access to the shop. Said it before, I'll say it again, say it 1,000 times. We have the Gothic Elegance scratch. Rejoice cast lovers, at least type 1 cast lovers, you have more cast parts. Type 2, however, it tends to just, it's like a slightly robotic girl. My heavy robotic girl fans, unfortunate, not really your scratch this time around. Type 1 enjoyers, you gotta, I feel like I've seen this look before, but at least it is more cast parts. And then, of course, the usual in the mix here. And then the other notable thing here is, of course, the underarm carrier, which is the first time I've ever seen an emote be 3 individual parts all put together. So that's pretty cool. I think we're on to the next. Yeah, we're on to, this is the second half, I believe. I think this is all of the first half, right? Yeah. So we're on to the second half. First thing we've got is Dazzling Chaos Suppression Op. I feel like this is a rehash of a previous one. Yeah, featuring revamped enemies and mechanics from the previously released Dazzling Chaos Suppression Op 23. Yeah, this is from a couple of years ago, so nothing new here. And Starsfell D2 again. So this is the other one. This is Vile. We already know he's going to have things like a, what's the word I'm looking for? A reward box. Yeah, reward box. That's it. Have a reward box as well. So make sure you run those when you can. And these are going to be pre-announced as well. So you'll be able to run 2 back to back. Shows off some of the seasonal exchange items. Shows a propeller B again. Shows a revolver and a horn. So pretty cool stuff there. We have 2 revival AC scratch tickets. So we have, of course, the Yours AC scratch. I'm sorry, yeah, the Yours AC scratch. So just keep that in mind. If you don't have your Urses, you can pick them up here. Again, purchase these on season, not off season. Do not get yourself scammed. And even if you're someone who's not pushing very, very high gear, at the very least, getting a very, very cheap version is still really, really powerful. So things like Ward, things like Gua, really, really good. Even Sta, those are all solid options if you're not someone who's going for the absolute best and want to get some power on a very, very tight budget that we can spend as much on fashion as you absolutely want to. And then of course the usual, this is the 21st, so the usual PSO2, base PSO2 or base PSO2 model revival stuff. Usually these are only good in my opinion for accessories, not really for outfits, but to each is their own. We also have Drill Breezy Summer Alio Defense. I feel like we've seen this one before. They say new, but I want to say that we had this last year. It might just be different enemies. It looks like there's also like points or quest points or whatever, but it was mainly just like kill a bunch of enemies. I do remember doing this quest on Hunter actually specifically. Pull everything together. The Noble Shadow AC Scratch. This one is an interesting one. We have the Type 2 outfit and they're also giving it to Type 1 as well, which to be honest, this is really good. I like the pants on these, but this top is going to mess things up for me in my opinion. And unless we can hide it, there's going to be another situation where I have to just have that baggy shirt on all over again. So fingers crossed this can be disabled at least for Type 1. Type 2 it makes sense, but I get the feeling that this is going to be stuck on, is going to turn off like maybe the boots or the straps or something like that. I don't know. We'll have to cross that bridge when we come to it. Oh yeah, and another katana idol, that's what we needed. I know Karo's intensifying over there. But yeah, cool stuff there. Oh yeah, and also weapon spin. This is the first time we've seen this. This is a weapon spin emote. It is katana and partisan, so those are pretty dope. Then we go into the operation report. Now, the operation report had some interesting stuff in the mix here. We're going to talk about some stuff here. So they talk about the Super Origin Festival. Nothing too crazy there. And then they drop this bombshell on us. We're going to watch it here. This is awesome. Absolutely amazing. Super hyped about this. I'm going to full screen this so you guys can see it in all its glory. Yep, Ruins is coming back into NGS. There's a couple of things to talk about when we're taking a look at this here, and I'll let it play in the background as I'm talking about it. But this is actually brings me back to when NGS was first being announced, and we saw the renders of NGS and the updated graphics in base PSO2 fields. They've remade an entire base PSO2 field in NGS. There's a few important things to note from here. First thing is, it looks like free fields or fields in general seem to be making a comeback, which is pretty crazy. Second thing is, this enemy here. This is a fall spawn, or in the JP terms, a darker. This is not a ruinous enemy. You can take a look at the color palette. They even mentioned that he looked kind of weird. His color palette looks a bit off. And if you also notice when they talk about this, they don't mention that this is an altar realm. They call it a shattered or a splintered realm, I believe, which is kind of crazy, all things considered. So we have what looks to be a fall spawn in a previous existing area. This is Nefarious Ruins, I believe. Or Nefarious Ruins, I believe. I'm pretty sure that's correct. I'm not 100% sure, but you have to quote me on that. That's always called it Ruins. I don't remember if it was Nefarious or not. But this is a ruin zone. This is the map from base PSO2, 1 for 1, by the way, completely recreated in NGS. Only thing it's missing are basically mining and fishing points, but that's something that free fields had in base PSO2 that wouldn't make any sense in NGS. And also including a fall spawn / darker. That's really important because those don't exist. Let me rephrase this. Because actually, now that I think about it, it might not necessarily be a fall spawn / darker. It might technically be a native creature. So don't quote me on that one. I'm pretty sure this is technically considered a fall spawn / darker, but the heavy PSO2 nerds in the comments, feel free to correct me. I just want to make sure that we're on the same page, but that's not a ruinous enemy. That's the big part. Not a ruinous enemy, an enemy that only existed at a time when falls were around. So, and also Splintered Realm or whatever they called it wasn't the Altar Realm. So very interesting. Very, very interesting. Means June's going to be quite a bit of fun. So for those who say skip May, understandable. I would still farm May out for its resources. And then moves on to the operation report. This is where things kind of take a bit of a turn. So this is a bit of an L, but it's sad when my inventory gets filled up with nothing but gold prims. If I don't expand my storage, I probably miss out on a lot, right? Could you make it possible to pick them up as Endemio capsules? Their answer basically was that content after next month will not drop gold prim swords. They will drop as Endemios. This is actually an L because for a lot of us, we auto sell our gold prim swords. And with things like gold buff, tri buffs, so on and so, or tri boost, so on and so forth. I say gold buff, but I meant Meseta boost and things like that. Tri boost and all that sort of stuff. That's affected by things that are auto sold. That means that it's going to be less net gain of Meseta in your pocket. Now you're probably thinking, oh, well, you can just sell it afterwards, right? You can turn it into an Endemio, turn it back into a sword and sell it. Well, then it's not getting the benefit that you would get from having the extra bonuses because those only apply to anything that is auto sold or any raw Meseta that is picked up. And that's what happens when you auto sell something, is it's raw Meseta picked up instead of the actual item. So a bit of an L here. Literally just manage your inventory, get good. This one blew my mind. Mars is significantly inferior in power compared to players with the best equipment. Therefore, even after the recent enhancement, its performance has actually decreased for most players. Are there any plans to adjust this? Now, I remember pretty blatantly being upset at a question about changing things up that way you weren't reliant on Mars. Players wanted power to come from themselves, not from Mars. Now, I wasn't like this. I personally didn't want this. I liked Mars being as strong as it was. I liked Mars being another option as far as our combat was concerned, but players made it very clear that they wanted something different, and the devs even answered that. What is this question, man? Why are we concerned with Mars's power if we didn't want to use it? And on top of that, what's really funny is, for as often as I heard people didn't want to use it, I saw it a lot in LTQs, in urgent quests at the very end, things like that. I saw it all the time, and not just for Hydro Termination spam, which is really realistically what it's used for. If you're going to use it for precasting Hydro Termination, what you would use it for. Just use in general cases, which is crazy to me. Absolutely insane. And that was basically it. Then we have another Niji-Sanji collab coming up. Not what I would have picked personally. I feel like everyone's going to be upset at them for this, but I feel like they have a deal with Niji, basically. So I am indifferent to it personally. If I don't like something, I just don't interact with it. I don't buy it. So it is what it is. They also are doing episodes of the comic. They call them, quote, animated episodes, but they basically are like they're basically stills that are moved around a little bit while adding voice acting to it. It's technically considered animation, just very low budget animation for the most part, most of the time, but it's very cute. I like it. I think it's cool. And then we also have, of course, talking about the deals in the web store on the website. Buy from there first, blah, 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 blah. The usual thing, right? Buy from there, discounts if they can, so on and so forth. And then it just went into talking about Niantic Star from April Fools, and then the episode that we talked about just a moment ago of the comic. So that's pretty much it. I am very excited for June, and I am curious to see if this is going to be what players have been. Let me be honest with you. Players have been asking for base PSO stuff just to kind of roll into NGS. Things like the old field, things that we used to farm in, and so on and so forth. But along with that, I'm getting this direct contradiction now of players now asking for Mars to be stronger after asking for our personal player power to be stronger than Mars. So it's an interesting back and forth. I'm curious to see how this works out. I'm not looking forward to the back and forth personally, but call it a morbid curiosity at this point, if you will. That's pretty much all I've got for you guys today. If there's anything I missed, feel free to let me know in the comments below. Like if you enjoyed, subscribe when you keep up with more. As always, thank you to the channel members. You guys are fantastic, and I appreciate every single one of you. And I will see you all in the next episode of whatever I decide to do, or on stream. I'm usually live every single day at 7 p.m. Either way, take care, my friends. Peace out.